Hey, what's happening everyone? Pragmatic Attitude here. I hope you are all doing well tonight. So this is going to be a little bit different of a review. This is actually, I guess you can call it like a throwback review. I'm going to be reviewing not the second Meg, because it's obviously not out yet. It doesn't come out for another week, but the first Meg. So I never saw this film when it came out. So those that don't know, I am a huge creature feature fan, but I'm also a massive horror enthusiast. And with being a horror fan, with being a creature feature fan, I obviously like my shark movies. But a reason why I like the shark movies is because I love the idea of a creature feature that actually works, you know, being stranded in the middle of the ocean, not having, you know, any resources or anything, centering on that dread of this massive ocean. You're just this little puny human. God knows what the fuck is down there. So a film like The Meg, a PG-13 B-movie action 2-hour film with Jason Statham versus a shark, yeah, wasn't my shark movie. But I do plan on seeing The Meg 2 because, well, for a number of reasons. One, it has been said that it will actually, like, have more of an actual horror movie theme to it. It's got a director attached to it that is known for some credible horror films, you know, things like ABC's of Death, In the Earth. And as someone who is planning to see the second Meg, who hasn't seen the first one, yeah, I obviously should probably, like, catch up on the films. And Harkins just happens to be doing a Shark Fest for, like a promo for The Meg 2. And what they're basically doing is they're showing, you know, a few older shark films, and one of them happens to be The Meg. They're like $5 a piece, and for someone who is going to see The Meg 2 who hasn't seen the first one, I figure, yeah, seeing the first one on the big screen for like $5 a week before the second one, why not? And really quickly, guys, before I actually finally get into this review, I'm just going to say, I was actually going into this movie just planning to do like a short review, just see the movie, do like a 1-minute review. Yeah, you know, here's what I thought about The Meg, because I'm obviously gonna be seeing the second one. But guys, it hit me like halfway through the movie where it was like, you know what? I might just have to do a full-on video about the first Meg, because I just have thoughts that are worthy of an actual video. The things that I want to say, I can't cover in a 1-minute video. I could be reviewing The Haunted Mansion right now, the one that just came out, which I actually was planning to do, but we're talking about The Meg 2018. So this film is almost everything that I expected out of this PG-13 B-movie action shark film with Jason Statham. It looks like an expensive B-movie action shark film with Jason Statham. The CGI doesn't look good. Jason Statham, he is what I expected him to be out of this movie for the most part. I hated him in this movie for the most part. The characters consist of this cliche crew. You know, you got the rich, quirky guy played by Dwight fucking Schrute. You got the alternative one. You got the petite female lead that is more or less kind of helpless, has this daughter, got no husband. You got the bystander observer types, just, you know, to add for that, like, serious, like, theme of the movie. And yes, they go by doctor. You got the more timid one of the group, you know, the one that says, guys, I don't think this is such a good idea. The one where whenever he's in the water, he's just freaking out. You got the more immature duo that whenever they say something, there's this line where, like, one of the women is with them. She's like, is everything that comes out of your guys' mouth just sexual? They got this silly, like, nerdy bro handshake that they call, like, the octopus handshake or some bullshit. And yes, last but not least, you got big bro shark fighter Jason motherfucking Statham.
He looks heroic, but he's kind of got a negative attitude. Chew on this, you ugly.
The first half of this movie doesn't even really feel like a shark movie. It just feels like a bro movie that is really expensive and really fucking boring, that just happens to take place underwater. And they're like, well, with the money, with the characters and the, like, vibe of this movie, hey, you might as well throw in a fucking shark. And that's what it feels like. Also, the editing is very fucking choppy. For example, like, the first half of the movie, especially during like a shark attack or something, you will see like the shark kind of swarming in on the guy, and you'll see that he's screaming, and you can kind of hear like faintly that he's screaming, but the action score is so fucking loud because why the fuck wouldn't it be? There are so many times also like because this is an expensive movie, because this is a dorky ass nerdy bro hybrid movie, there's like a bunch of weaponry and gadgets and shit, and because the movie takes place in this like underwater facility, you got all this like high-tech monitor shit, and like someone will be talking like on like a camera and shit, and then it'll cut to like being in the actual presence of them, and it feels just very choppy. It feels like the film was like cut, like they're like, okay, well, we're gonna film you on this monitor because why the fuck wouldn't we? But then they're like, well, we also don't want it to come off too silly. We want to be at least like a little bit self-aware. So then they're like, okay, we'll like also cut to you finishing off this like sentence in the room to make it that much more serious. And it just feels like they either did things to either A, display that it's an action film, B, display that it's an expensive film, or C, do both. Display that it is an expensive action film. And it just felt like that was like their biggest priority, and it just comes off fucking bad. Though I will say, when they actually brought in the shark, and they actually tried to focus on that action suspense, like big screen popcorn fun of the movie, not only was it the obviously fun part of the movie, but it actually did things that were genuinely fun, especially in the last act. There's this scene where they put like one of the girls from the crew in this plastic cage in the water to lure the Meg, and you know, like around the plastic cage you can just see the deep blue, and there's like a bunch of blood all around the frame, again to lure in the Meg. And I just thought it was a fun visual, especially in a dark theater on a big ass screen. There's also this scene where it's like they try to incorporate comedy, which what I will say is that surprisingly the comedy was also like one of the better aspects of the film. And sure, you know, coming from this movie, it does come off in a very bro cringe, like get me out of here kind of vibe. Like for example, there's this one scene where Jason Big Boy Statham does some shit, and because the rest of the crew is supposed to be like intimidated by him, and they're supposed to be like smart to some degree, they pull him like out of the water after some bullshit goes down, and they're like, you may be one dumb son of a bitch, but you are definitely a fucking hero. So you definitely got that bro humor where like half the audience, that half being me, is just like, oh, fuck off, get me out of here, fuck me, it's 2 hours. And then that other half of the audience, the, you know, half that this, like, movie is, like, suited for, is like, ooh, funny humor, big boy humor, like, just bro tank humor, man. You get that half coming from this fucking kind of a movie, but there is also just humor that genuinely just fucking worked for me. Like, especially coming from, like, Jason Statham's character, you wouldn't expect it to go down this route with his character, but there's this part of the movie where he's, like, swimming in the ocean, he's, like, trying to, I think he's, like, trying to get the fucking, like, a harpoon or, like, a bomb or some bullshit, like, strapped to the fucking Meg, and he actually shows, like, some sort of fear, which I'm like, wow, they actually allowed his character to show fucking fear. And he's like swimming through the ocean, he's singing the theme from Finding Nemo where he's like, just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
And I'm like, I get it. I would probably do that if I were big boy Jason Statham. I mean, probably not if I was Jason Big Boy Statham because he's Jason Big Boy Statham. But for whatever fucking reason, if I was in his position, yeah, I'd probably do something of the sort. There's also this scene where it's like, it plays out like a prank, where they think they got the giant shark, and so they have its like corpse displayed on the fucking ship. And one of the crew's like, ha, take a picture of me with it. And he's like, pretending to get like chomped on by the shark, and Jason Statham's with the camera, and he's like, you know, if you really want to capture a good picture, maybe you should just get inside its fucking mouth. And it's that, like, huh, you just got pranked, bro, like, humor where the rest of the crew, like, lets loose the corpse and it kind of, like, falls on the guy and he, like, falls in the water. Again, it's definitely bro humor and bro comedy for this bro movie. But just how they played out this scene, and with the character that is, like, the fucking shitty end of the stick of the prank, just how he reacts, I was in that theater watching the scene and I was like, ha ha ha, he got scared of the giant shark. It's not the actual shark that's in the movie. Ha, I know where it's going. It's kind of that thing where I'm like, okay, I see where the audience it could be trying to suit for, but it's also that self-aware thing that you just gotta kind of chuckle with it at times. There's also the scene in the end, where it's like the big climax. It's like a shark scene between Jason Statham and this little submarine. The giant ass fucking prehistoric fish is like chasing him, which I don't know if I would say that this is supposed to be a comedic scene, and I'm gonna go ahead and spoil this movie. It's like 5 years fucking old at this point. This sequel comes out in a fucking week, where he slashes the fucking shark with a harpoon, and all these other sharks, because they're drawn to blood, instead of them going after Statham, there's all these little sharks, and because of the size of the fucking Meg, they're swarming up to the fucking actual megalodon and feasting on him. And like I said earlier, not only does this have action for that popcorn flick fashion, but it actually has some suspense that genuinely works. Before the scene happens where he slashes the Meg, I actually don't remember if it's before or after. I think it's before, during the chase sequence between the shark and Jason Statham. Because it's chasing the submarine at such a fast pace, it chases them out of the water and does this slow-mo in your face. Definitely could see where the 3D came into place, can definitely see where the budget came into place. But when that scene happens and they're in the air and it gets right next to the viewer, he just slashes the fucking thing with the eye, and I'm like, okay, again, definitely bro tank action, but genuinely good suspense and fun popcorn flick material. I just thought that this was just gonna be a really bad B-movie bullshit bro tank 2-hour action flick with a shark and Statham. And while it is still a lot of fucking times many times, I would still call this an actually just fun bad movie. And the things that I really thought that they were not gonna land whatsoever, like the comedy and some suspense, genuinely at times did land for me. But again, it's still many times is that bro tank B-movie PG-13 action 2-hour Jason Statham fighting a shark movie. Especially in the beginning where before the first hour had hit, I checked my time and I was like, oh fuck, it's still not even an hour in and it's 2 hours. I think it's over 2 hours. Fucking kill me, I wanna die. Also, yeah, the plot, I don't know what the fucking plot is. Honestly, I went into this movie expecting to make fun of it, which I mostly did. But there was also that thing where I was like, maybe I'll get just a little bit of my money's worth and find something of value with it, which somewhat I did. But yeah, the plot, it's funny, because there's this sequence toward the end where the female lead's dad is in crucial condition, and he's like, you have always been my brave daughter, or some shit like that. I'm like, I thought that was the woman's husband. I just thought the whole time she was slowly falling under Jason Statham's charm, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, you're kind of a bitch. Nope, that's her dad. Why am I even bringing this up? That's what I gained from the plot. The divide for me is half of this movie is fun bad, half of this is just what I expected it to be, bad. And it lands bad. It's just corny cliches. But in the end, obviously, with all this being said, I was more than anything mixed on it. So yes, guys, that is going to be my 5-year late throwback review of The Meg from 2018. With The Meg 2 supposedly having a more horror approach, and with it, I believe, having most of the characters back in it, I wonder how they're gonna do, how they're gonna sell this movie. Because it is from a different director, it is from a mostly horror director, but it's still The Meg 2 with Jason Statham. We'll see how that lands next week with my review of The Meg 2. For those that watch this review, thank you. I don't know who's planning to watch a Meg review right now, especially from me. No offense to myself, but thank you for watching. Guys, I will see you very soon with more reviews. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a great night, and I will see you very soon. Take care.